So traders, I've just been doing some analysis on the Nasdaq daily charts and also the S&P 500 charts. Been looking at the indicators as well too. And actually, the question is, are we about to see a bit of a short-term sell-off in the markets? Because there's a bit of a weak divergence happening in the markets, and I want to share that with you. But also, I want to share with you a projection point. If the Nasdaq doesn't break down but breaks up, where's that projection on Nasdaq, and where's it likely to go to? Which is, I think you really enjoy it. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, so let's actually get straight into it. But before I do start, guys, just want to let you guys know that the free training that I've been putting up for the last few days, which goes over my #1 trading system for the last 16 years, it's the most powerful trading system I've traded in the last 16 years. It's my #1 trading system I look for every single day. So if you're after a good trading system, you got to learn all the details of that. Plus also, I'm going to share with you the 2 markets that I believe are going to go into what I call a supersonic boom from now through the end of the year. And also I'm going to talk about my target for those as well too. If you go to johnsfreetraining.com, or there should be a link in the description. Guys, this is the last chance to actually get access to this. I've had it up for a few days, but this is the last time. I've had it up for a few days, and the countdown clock actually ends today. So you better go get access to that right now, guys. I promise you, you're going to love it. Now, that being said, let's actually look at this here. Now, first, let's have a look at the S&P 500. I'm looking at my good old trading view. And the few things here that is screaming a bit of a warning sign is a bit of a weak divergence, right? Now, I don't want you to put too much emphasis on this, but it could be a bit of a warning sign of what is to come out of the markets. So firstly, we can see there's actually a bit of a wedgie going on right now, right? So a bit of a wedgie going on, and we're squeezing right up into the wedgie. Now, when the wedgie gets like that, right, just think about this as really getting a wedgie. Right? When I'm at school, the kids pick me up. Boom! Right? They pick me up and they pull it tight, they pull it tight, they pull it tight, they pull it tight. Guess what eventually happens? Snap! And what ends up happening? Then the elastic band goes flying. That's what's going to happen to this market. Now, the question is, are we about to see that snap on the downside or the upside? Firstly, we can see here that the wedgie is really squeezing up, but we're getting actually a bit of a weak divergence here on these good old RSI. We're getting a bit of a movement to the upside, but look at this RSI coming down through here. So that's actually not looking good through there. Now, this actually could be a bit of a head fake. It doesn't mean we're definitely going to drop. You can see there's a lot of times when we do get divergence through here, and we just get a little bit of a pullback and a continuation. So this is just a bit of a warning sign. The big key for us to keep an eye out for is if indeed we do see a bit of a drop below this 4,200 level through here. That's going to be the big sign to say, okay, this divergence is kicking into play, and we're now likely to see a movement to the downside. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't think that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is that I think we're in the middle of one of the a bit of a melt up type phase, and then I believe we're actually likely to break up and then continue to go for a big move to the end of this year. So that's what I'm seeing there on the S&P 500. And also the Nasdaq, you can see what's happening here on the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq here is actually in a bit of a channel. We've actually got the, let's actually just take this off the screen here. So you can see here that we have a bit of a channel here on the Nasdaq for quite some time. Boom, support, support, resistance, support, came down, almost hit support, and now we're actually squeezing up into a bit of a wedgie, right? The wedgie's getting the Nasdaq as well too. So it looks like we're trying to get a bit of a selling phase right now going on where we are right now. We can also see that we are getting a bit of a weak divergence in the markets as well too. So the RSI is coming down as the market is going up. So there's a bit of a weak divergence coming into play when it comes to that. So we may be getting ready for a bit of a drop to the downside. Now, if that does happen, if we do see, if we actually do see that, then I believe it's probably likely to be very short-lived. We're likely to be, if this happens, likely to be very short-lived, and then we're likely to turn around and then come straight back up again. I don't think we're going to have too much of a drop. If we do drop, there's actually major level of support around that 14,000 level. We're probably going to do that, and then away we go for the rest of this year. But keep an eye on this channel here, because the way we look at this is this, right? If we do a bit of a projection, and the way we do these projections is this. See how we've got a bit of a channel coming to the upside. We've got the resistance points all through here, and we've got the support points. So that's a very, very, very nice channel. What you do is, let me just zoom in a bit through here, is we actually measure from the top of the channel and to the top of the channel. And what we do is we actually grab it and we project it up like that. And what that means is that if the Nasdaq starts to break above this channel to the upside, then the projected target of where this is likely to go to, which is going to blow you away. Because if you've been watching me for quite some time, you know that I've always had what target for the Nasdaq? I've always had a 17,000 target for the Nasdaq. Well, the projected channel based on that, if I squeeze my charts up, you'll see that it's almost just shy of my 17,000 target for the Nasdaq by the end of this year. That is absolutely just incredible. I just could not believe to see that. And again, that's the Nasdaq, what I see from there. If we have a look at that, what is that from that to there to there? That's roughly 15-20%. It may even go higher, but it's a roughly 15% move. Again, I've always had a 17,000 target for the Nasdaq for the end of the year, but it's really just fascinating to see that my overall target by the end of the year is going inside of this movement through here. So I wanted to share that with you guys, that once again, the S&P 500 is definitely squeezing up, and where that elastic band is about to snap when it comes to these markets. If we don't break to the downside, this is going to be like sort of wait and see what's going to happen with these markets. If we break up, then that's going to be, I believe that's going to be the start of the blow off top. I don't believe we're in the blow off top yet, but I believe if we get back above here, that's going to be the sign to say, okay, now get ready, right? Because it's just like get ready and the horses go out. And I was also told too that one of my private clients knows one of the Merrill Lynch guys, and they were saying there's about $4.5 trillion on the sidelines waiting to enter these markets. So whether they're waiting to get a clear signal of this market moving up, or whether they're waiting for that short-term correction, which may be the RSI coming into play, and then we could see, and then we could actually see a big movement to the upside. So that's what I'm seeing through there, guys. Overall, when it comes to the S&P 500, I've always had a 5,000 target for the S&P 500 for the end of this year, and if we start to really get heated up, then we could even see a 5,400 print by the end of this year. That's actually pretty crazy, I know. If I look where we are right now, and that's actually very, very similar, right? 15% rise on the Nasdaq gives me 17,000. 15% rise on the S&P 500 gives me that 5,000 target. So that's sort of my sort of conservative target. But if I do that, and if I go to this one up here, you can see that roughly 20% is roughly around that 5,000. So that's my gauge is around that 20% plus mark by the end of this year. Especially if we start to break above here, then I believe that that big move in that phase is coming. So maybe a bit of a short-term weakness is going to come, but I don't believe it's going to be that much or that big, because the fuel underneath these markets is still moving to the upside. So the weakness on these indicators could saying, okay, a bit of a short-term movement, short-term sell-off in the markets, and then the upside. But the first key is we want to make sure that first thing is to make sure that if we do break out of the channel, then that's when we're probably likely to see the sell-off, and same for the Nasdaq as well too. If we do get a bit of a sell-off, I believe it's likely to be strongly holding through there, and then away we go from that there. Again, if we do see a pullback, then we're likely to see that movement through there. Let me know what you think, guys. Do you think the Nasdaq is at the top? Do you think the Nasdaq and the S&P are likely to reach those targets that I just said there a minute ago? What are your thoughts? They're just my analysis. That's what I'm seeing through there. So hope you enjoyed this, guys. Once again, make sure you head on down to John's free training, or there should be that very first link in the description. Click on that. The training ends today. So if you go to that training, you're going to learn my #1 trading system, plus also the bonus, the 2 different markets. Out of all the markets that I see, I'm likely to see a supersonic boom, plus also my targets for them. Go do that right now, guys, and I'll speak to you real soon.